Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. No Time for Movies, where we are still aspiring to be the best movie podcast there is. It's hard work, but we're still getting there. So today we're going to talk about the studio shutting down for the coronavirus, the trailer for Pixar's Soul. Should movie theaters shut down in the U.S.? Talk a little bit about the Batman, The Outsiders season finale, and a little Harvey Weinstein has been sentenced for some time in prison. All that and more in No Time for Movies. So today we have Lucky Boy Reviews back on the podcast. Lucas Parker, welcome back.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you. Yeah, always nice to be here.
Yeah, it's great, man. I'm glad you take the time to come on the show.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I love talking movies.
I mean, we have more than enough time now that we're going to be quarantined.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's plenty of news going on. Even though there's not movies to review coming out to theaters, there's still plenty of movies to watch right now.
I know,
and TV.
People are still going to theaters though.
Yeah, I mean,
they're watching
the box office. Like, I think it was like 10. What was it? The high. It was Onward again. It was. I just read the numbers like not even half hour ago. I think Onward made like 10 million.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not great, but
it's not great, but it's better than I thought it would be, especially right now. I wonder how much Bloodshot's gonna make, because
it was the third. It didn't do well. I think it was like 7 million or something like that, or maybe even less. It was because it was that new I Still Believe, like that Christian based movie was like number 2, and then Bloodshot was number 3.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really low numbers, but
it's definitely not good. So
yeah,
I think Bloodshot was made for like 45 million, and I think I want to say it made 7.
Damn. That's crazy. So yeah, we're starting off with that. Studios are shutting down left and right. I mean, pretty much everybody's shut down now. Productions for everything have shut down. We started with 007 No Time to Die shutting down, or actually got moved back, right?
Pushed back, to November. And that was kind of the first that was honestly the first major thing.
Yeah, that was the first domino.
Were like,
to topple over, right?
Yeah. And then it after that it was just an avalanche of just sports and movies, entertainment. I mean, everything just started going one after the other to now it's amusement parks, concerts, no large gatherings. Like it's pretty crazy. Oh
man, it's insane. Luckily, you should see. So in California, there's not many weapons and stuff, like, because guns are hard to get in California. But out here in Nevada, stores are being emptied out. Like
for guns,
ammo, guns.
Wow,
there's lines to buy guns. Yeah. So
people really think, oh my god. I mean, that's kind of scary.
So it's getting kind of dangerous, I guess. I mean, I guess most gun owners, you could say, are responsible. They're probably just gonna stay in the house, make sure nobody gets into their house. But still, I mean,
I don't know, man. That's still panic driven. Like that's still like, I mean, I guess people want to say that's like cautionary, but that's like cautionary through fear and threat. Like that's I mean, that's not kind of the way we'd like to move forward. Like that's definitely scary.
Let's hope it doesn't get worse, because but one production that's not stopping is this podcast, so we're gonna keep going. Shang-Chi, the Marvel movie, has stopped production. A Quiet Place Part 2 was the one. I think that one was gonna release next week, right, or something.
Yeah, it was supposed to be on Friday night or Thursday, because I was gonna go see it. I was really looking forward to it. Like some early reviews have been coming through saying it was like a masterpiece and as a thriller, and it looked. I mean, I'm sure it was going to be great, but they didn't even give a release date. Like they just have no idea when they'll release it at this point.
But at this point, we don't know how long this is going to last. So
I mean, no one. I mean, that's the thing. It's just a wait and see. Like everyone's just like. Well, the one podcast I kind of was listening to, the Joe Rogan one, and he had an expert on about the coronavirus, and he was saying people are preparing for a blizzard, and he's like, no, this is a winter. He's like, this is going to be a 3 to 6 month issue.
Yeah,
and so
it makes sense, because from what I heard was that even at the fastest rate they could possibly come out with a vaccine, it still needs to go through trials and all that. Yeah. So we're well out, a year out before we could get a vaccine out. So, you can't be quarantined for a year.
No, I mean, I don't. That's the thing is I don't even know what we're going into quarantine for. Like, I don't understand what all of this. I mean, I guess it's to stop the spread.
It is to stop the spread. It's to try and contain it. They had actually a study from, I forgot what university it was, where it would show the rate of death and infection if we didn't stop, concerts and all the sports and stuff. I think it said something like it would be in the millions of people dying in a short few months. So,
see, that's the thing is there's so much conflicting information too. Because then I also hear that it's not
that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They say that 80% of cases are pretty mild. Like you basically get like some respiratory issues, fever, mild headaches, stuff like that, but that you can treat it with over-the-counter medication and rest, and you're basically over. I think you're done with it's kind of like a cold or a flu, where you're over it like a couple weeks. But to shut down literally the global economy, like I have to imagine the effects of that's the thing is no one I know has this virus, so I don't know what it's actually doing to them or how it's affecting them, or like if it's really like that dangerous. Because I'm like, yeah, if it is, obviously shut things down, but the repercussions of shutting down the global economy seem almost scarier. Like I feel like people trying to get medications, like I mean there's so many issues that are going to arise from it that we're just, literally day by day we're just kind of like waiting and seeing, but it's who knows, man. I don't know. Hope it kind of gets better soon.
I think it might not be that bad, but if you have an underlying condition, say a lot of people have asthma, so that's a respiratory issue already. Yeah. If you get something like that, then it's probably going to be bad.
Dangerous. Yeah. But it seems like those people should be quarantined a little bit. Like those people should kind of, I don't know if that's bad or whatever to say, but it kind of seems like older people, like to have like the majority of the people kind of shut down everything. Yeah. It's like you would think that like those people should kind of be like in a room, kind of quarantined off, like just make sure they're healthy, like have their, like, especially if they're kids or have their parents just like know that they're safe. But I don't know.
It's tough because you can have young kids, say, with respiratory issues, and you can have, like my coworker, for example, he's always had respiratory issues since a kid. And he went out and got a good supply of like asthma medicine, because he knows he's vulnerable. Yeah, he's vulnerable. Yeah. The problem is that I say you don't contain the people that are not at risk, but they continue being out there and spreading it throughout people that are.
Of course, yeah. It's gonna happen. Like this. As cautious as you can be, things just spread. Like it's just, there's no way to fully contain it. Like there's just no way. But yeah, it's crazy, it's just people are social by nature. Like they're gonna find ways to be around one another. Because you can't isolate the world. But it is. It's almost in a weird way fascinating because like I genuinely believe most people are gonna make it through this. Like I would say like a lot are. And so we're about to go through something that the world has never gone through before, and we're all watching it and just we're living it, and it's going to be very, very strange because there's going to be a before this time period and after this time period, and everything we're about to learn over the next couple months, like hopefully it's some positive things, but it's going to be very eye-opening in a lot of ways too. So
well, we'll see. One movie I was glad got pushed back was Fast 9.
Oh yeah,
it got pushed back a whole year, so I wasn't mad about that one. I think what was his name? Tyrese Gibson might have been mad because
he gets mad about everything. He's always upset. Anything that goes like he just wants.
Like with and all so those movies. We had about 2 years ago I think, because this movie was supposed to start production and come out about a year ago, but then they pushed it back because of the Hobbs and Shaw movie, and that's why he got mad at Dwayne Johnson. And that's when that video came out that he was like, why would you guys push it back? You know, he has to pay his child support and stuff, and he was all crying.
Is that what he said? Really?
Yeah,
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
So I don't know how he got paid this time, but if he didn't get paid till the movie comes out and it got pushed back another year,
he's the one we should all be worried about.
Yeah, we should be worried about him.
Yeah, man. I mean, the movie I'm actually the most upset about is Antlers being pushed back.
Yeah,
I was so excited. Dude, that movie looks terrifying. It looks super creepy. And it looks at like an original, like very unique kind of story too. And I was really excited for that one.
Yeah,
and then once that got pushed back, because that was like couple weeks away. Like we're so close. I've been counting down to that one.
Yeah. Another movie that's probably used to being pushed back was New Mutants.
They just need to scrap that one.
Oh man, that thing has the worst of luck.
Worst luck, yeah. I mean, that thing has just been like through turmoil since pretty much since day. Well, and that and Bond 25 has been through like nothing but turmoil. It was shut down because of like multiple times. I think Daniel Craig hurt himself at one point. Like, didn't he like hurt his Achilles or like ankle
something like that? And then he didn't.
Like
and then he didn't want to return. He didn't want to do any more Bond movies.
They fired Danny Boyle. Like, brought on the new director. Like, they've got rewrites going on, and then it's finally making its way towards theaters. And then and those first trailers when they came out, like I was pumped. Like it looked amazing. So but yeah, I mean everything, man. Everything's gonna be delayed, but no one knows for how long.
Who knows?
It's just
New Mutants almost saw daylight, and they got pushed back. That's kind of
pushed back, yeah.
But
right there,
if I didn't look like they had it together, so
well, if they were smart, honestly, what I kind of wish some studios would do would be to release them on demand, like release them just through iTunes or something like that. And just, I mean, people are going to be stuck indoors. If you want to get a movie watched right now, like make people pay for it, do pay-per-view. Because if the whole country goes on lockdown, I mean, everybody's single person is going to be looking to entertain themselves.
Yeah. Another, I guess you could say a contradiction to that would be, is anybody looking to spend money right now?
No, I mean, that's most people's biggest fear, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a single one of my friends or people I know are concerned about the virus. It is purely financial. Like, they're just like, dude, like, I can't not work for 6 months. I can't work for 3 months. And then, I mean, it really is the concern that I would say the majority of people have.
Yeah.
And then, the virus is just kind of secondary to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same here. Like, I can't go a month. You know, most people in America probably can't go a month without working.
No,
So, I don't know. It's going to be tough, but hopefully we all make it through. I mean, hopefully it doesn't get to that, actually.
Well, that's the thing is we will. Like, we can all kind of, like, rely on that. Like, I just don't think this virus is capable of taking out. I mean, this sounds terrible. I mean, our parents are very vulnerable, but it's like anyone who's my age, younger than us, or pretty healthy, like it seems like they're fine. It doesn't seem like it's, I mean, honestly, I've been kind of watching Tom Hanks because now that we know he has it and he's been giving us updates and he's like an older guy now and like he's obviously getting the best medical treatment, all that stuff. So, but he's a good, like, I'm kind of gauging, like, how serious is this by, like, how it's affecting him.
Yeah.
And, that's true. I mean, the thing is we really most people, I think, are going to make it through this. So there's going to be, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Like, are people just going to rack up credit card debt? Like,
oh, yeah, you definitely.
I mean, stuff like that will happen.
I think it will put us back in a recession for a while.
Oh, 100%. Like, we're already basically in it. Yeah. Like, this is, like, I mean, the recovery from this
it might be worse than the last time too.
I think so. I think it's going to be worse too.
Yeah, because everybody's going to rack up credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking to spend cash if you want to keep as much cash as possible.
Yeah,
and then you got back payments like for example, like I've gotten a lot of emails and stuff from all like bills and utilities saying, you know, if you're late, we won't shut your water down or your gas or electric bill, awesome. Right? But say I go a month without paying it, and then we finally start coming back,
Mm-hmm.
So now I have accrued 2 months of payments, and I can't pay really it, screwed. And I'm I'm falling behind, and we don't know how. I'm sure some jobs are not going to come back right away.
No way, not at all. Especially, I mean, most jobs, because people aren't going to be spending money again. Also, so they're not going to restaurants, they're not going to bars, they're not going out. They're like, I mean, some people will, but for the most part, most people are not going to be able to afford to do that stuff. Yeah. So this recovery is going to be, I mean, that's the scariest part by far. Yeah.
Small businesses are in trouble as well.
Real trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like, this is not, it's hard to be super optimistic about it, because it is. It's just, we're in for some just rough times for a while.
Rough times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing that we shouldn't let this affect us is our soul, which is perfect segue for the next topic, is that Soul trailer from Pixar. Did you get to watch it?
Oh, yeah. I did. So I saw Onward last week, and I reviewed that one, and it was fine. But like I was kind of said in my review for it, that the one I'm really looking forward to is Soul. Like, that just looks like it's going to be everything you kind of want from a Pixar movie. It has like all the emotional weight, has like very clever insights into just humanity, life, like what goes on after, like all that stuff. So the new trailer looks incredible. Like that's another one I can't wait to get in the theater and see.
Yeah, now I think about it, it has a very like Coco vibes to it, right?
With a little bit
after death,
afterlife, all that.
Yeah, afterlife. I mean, and so it looks good. I mean, Jamie Foxx sounds great in it.
Well, the animation looks incredible.
The animation looks good.
Like, it's like, I mean, that looks like real life, but it's just, I mean, it's beautiful. Like, it looks absolutely stunning. So yeah.
I missed Onward. It wasn't, it seemed like it was missing something to me for a Pixar movie.
It was, even when I saw it. Like, it's fine. It's still funny. It's like an adventure story. Like, I didn't not like it by any means, but I also like it's very generic Pixar.
It didn't really look Pixar or feel Pixar to me when I was watching the trailers. It just seemed like something else. Almost
that's kind of like Sony Animation, like that type of stuff. Like
it was just off. But this one looks like it's back to its Pixar roots,
what we want from them. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm definitely gonna make time to go watch this if theaters are still open.
It's so true. It's like hard to have any real conversations about anything, because we're like, if we're even able to ever see these things, or if we're able to like even, or if it doesn't get
pushed back at some point.
Dude, it's just like nothing's for sure. Like, because we still talk, everyone's still just like living life like it's gonna just fully go back to normal, and I'm like, that's all we can do. But it's just like, if we're even around in a month from now, I'm like, God, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. Which I mean, our next topic actually is movie theaters are starting to close in the U.S. now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, why not? If everything else is closing, then if people are that panicked about being around people, then the theaters is obviously a contained environment where you're, I mean, that's obviously the last thing. I haven't stopped going to movies yet, but if they obviously close down the theaters, then I won't be. I'm just not that scared of the virus. I know I should be. I think people call people like me a spreader. Like, that's what I've read online. I was just like, they just don't give a shit about anybody else. Like, they're just spreading the disease. And I'm like, I just am not. I've never let anything dictate my life purely based on fear. Like, I just don't.
Right.
Like, if I'm taking the right measures, if I'm doing the right things, if I'm not the target, like, I'm literally not around elderly people to kind of keep spreading it. I mean, I don't know. I just haven't let it change my life so much, other than what's obviously being forced on us.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But for now, like, I know Pennsylvania and New Jersey, I think, completely shut down theaters.
They did. Oh, okay.
So it's starting. Like, I know a lot of people were like, we're still going into theaters, and we're not, they're not scared of it or whatever. But I mean, I know it was like a single digit amount of people in the theater, and I mean, it's not even it's pointless to have it open at this point. Nobody's gonna go.
I think so. Like it really, even when I went to the movies, like I went and saw Onward. That was like it was right when the kind of the news started coming out, and when I first got tickets, it was basically sold out. And when I went to the movie, there was maybe say 15 people in there. Like there was like nobody. Yeah. And then this last weekend, there wasn't really much I wanted to see, and so I just didn't go. But yeah, I mean, from what I hear, it's even now they're only selling theater capacity to 50%. Not that there's even that much showing up.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. Like it sucks because a lot of good movies are probably not gonna make the money the return they expected.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's not the biggest concern we have at the moment. So
no, I mean yeah, it's true because it's like it's so hard to like change that frame of like reference where it's just because we keep talking about everything like it's usual, like business as usual, like, oh, this is too bad they're not making the money, this is too bad all of this stuff is happening, but I'm like, no one's ever seen anything like this, so most people don't even know how to think about it. Like we just kind of keep planning on things just going back, like once this is over it's going to go right back to the way things were before, and I'm like, but it's not, like it's right. Things are going to be much different after this, and we don't really know what to expect, like what's really happening.
Yeah, I'm just training my family and myself by watching survival movies, like, you know.
Yeah.
Volcano.
That's the thing, man. It's like when things like if stuff really goes on, like, I mean, oh my God, could you even imagine if we lost power? Like, internet?
Oh, definitely, dude. Like, my coworker was like, my wife wants me to get a generator because she thinks they're gonna shut down the power. I'm like, well, they shouldn't shut down the power because if they're quarantining us, we need power.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, there's no. I mean, even if we lost internet, there would be just people would. Modern society is not equipped for this. Like, we're not built for going back.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I did think about was maybe the internet's not such a issue. Maybe it'll keep going, but I did give my parents my email address and the other ways to contact me, because I'm like, if it does shut down, the first thing that's gonna go is the phone lines, because it always gets bogged down, you know, because everybody's trying to call everybody. So I was like, so go ahead, email me. So maybe that's a tip I could give everybody. Maybe share your emails, because that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I mean, it is like, what are other ways you can kind of get in contact with the people you love if like the modes of doing it that we're just so accustomed to.
Well, I think back, maybe you were around in California still with like the Northridge earthquake happened. I don't know. Maybe you were up north, or maybe you were in Vegas. I don't know where you were.
When was that? What year was that?
97, 90 something.
No, so I was in Washington State at that point. I was in California for the '89 earthquake, that big one that happened during the World Series. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah, the Northridge one I wasn't around for.
Yeah, that one was crazy as well. I mean, I was right smack down in the middle in LA, and there was no electricity went out. On our building, there was no gas or water because both lines had broken. And as soon as you tried to make a call, it was busy. You couldn't call anywhere. You couldn't do anything. So you were out in the dark, like nowhere to go, nowhere.
Yeah, just waiting and see.
And the looting.
I mean, that's
the looting
kind of the worst
started.
part, is
just
to wait
crazy.
and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, well, hopefully it doesn't get that bad. But
no, I mean, that's the thing is like, I just, in my head, I don't know why, I just feel like this is only going to be like a couple months, and then it's just, they're going to start realizing, I don't know, that maybe the virus isn't this as big of a threat as they thought it might be, and that they are just kind of going to starting everything back up again. Yeah. But I mean, people are going to be cautious for a long time, but I don't know. It seems such a crazy, drastic measure to take.
Yeah.
For this sort of virus that I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, in my lifetime, like, because I don't remember, like, I was pretty young when most of the, like, Ebola was happening. Yeah. Anthrax was, like, another one I remember. SARS. And, like, I remember those were actually like when you saw people dying of that, like it looked scary. Like I was like, oh my God. And then this, I don't know, like to have it be this chaotic, it almost seems like we're just in that time of.
You know what it reminds me of? Like when AIDS and HIV came around.
Yeah.
That's what this kind of reminds me of. And it's almost like they're taking those steps to avoid something of that magnitude.
Yeah. And even that was pretty fear-based too. Like that's just something that like, they didn't understand. And like they were like, I remember that because I was really little when that was going on. That was like early 90s. And I just remember like, I mean, people would just say scary stuff, especially like because being a kid, like I remember hearing that people would put needles in movie theater seats and like you'd sit down on them and like they're like they just like spreading the disease. And I was like, really? Like people are doing stuff like this? And I just remember being terrified, like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is there even a case of that actually happening, or is it just like urban legends and stuff? Because right now it's just like it's so fear based and so panicky that like. There's so much like crazy information going on out there, and especially with like memes and just like shit that's just like out and about. It's like people always take the craziest one and they're like, well, this is what's happening. And I'm like, but is that really what's happening? Like the only thing that I've actually seen that's happening is in Trader Joe's, like people just panic buying stuff and kind of losing it. But other than that, I've seen nothing. Like in my own day-to-day personal life, I've literally seen nothing else. Or heard of anything else either too. I don't like, I mean, I think the cases of it, I know it's over a couple thousand now, but it's not even like, it's like basically like a high school class has one high school class out of all the high schools in the country has this disease or virus now. And then I think only like 50, maybe it's like, I think it might even be just over 100 now that actually have died from it.
Yeah.
But it's still just not many. Like it's not a lot.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I mean, you can't.
It's strange. It's definitely strange that like the numbers don't really add up for the reaction that we're getting. Right?
Not at all. Not even close. Yeah.
That's why I keep thinking like there must be something more. Like I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. I'm not gonna go into conspiracy theories now.
Last night that it was that they were prepping us. This was literally a dream I had, that they were prepping us for aliens. That they were
imagine it could.
There's something they were like just testing to see like, all right, like if we put. Like, how are people going to react to something if we put out like really bad information?
Yeah.
Like, if we're just like, and I was like,
imagine that. If aliens do exist and the government knows about it, now I know why they haven't said anything. Because
this shit would be literally just imagine like aliens, like even an alien, like landing and like just walking around and like people, the amount of like chaos and panic. And I mean, right now we're seeing panic over a pretty mild virus. Like, and I know people get mad when you call it like a mild virus, but I'm like, but it kind of is. Like, it just, there's no other way to like look at it. When you look at the symptoms, you look at what's happening. Like, I've had the flu and people aren't even puking or like vomiting or like really even getting like physically really, really ill from this. And I'm like,
statistically, the flu is worse. I mean, the flu has been around longer, but still, like, it's worse. So
I mean, the symptoms are just worse. Like, they're just like if getting food poisoning. Have you ever gotten bad food poisoning?
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. Like there's literally like, I mean, it's coming out both ends.
Yeah.
Like I remember like by the time I was done, I like literally just been puking for like 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
And I just was like curled up next to the toilet and I had to like get up to like, and this was during college. Like all my friends are out partying. No one gave a shit that I was sick.
Yeah.
And I just was like so weak and I like crawled to my bed and I was like, the thought of like eating just sounded like terrifying to me. Like, and I'm like, that's scary. Like that, I don't want food poisoning ever again. But like, I don't like this.
I had it once for a week.
Seem that threatening.
I had food poisoning once for a week, and and I lost like 22 pounds in a week.
Jesus.
And not even water would stay down. I was like, oh my God.
Nothing. Anything you put in your body, it's like immediately ejected. Yeah.
Well,
but that's scary. Like that to me is scary. Like that's like, and I've lived through it, and it's like, and I know, yes, I'm young, but I could totally see how that could kill somebody if they were older. But like, and that's something we're vulnerable to every day, all the time, from people not washing their hands, contaminating food, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So this virus, like, I don't know, man. It just like, I can see why conspiracy theorists and people like that are just going absolutely wild with this.
Yeah.
Because it seems nuts. It just seems like the precautions we're taking are so dramatic.
It could be that it's just it's hard to believe on something you don't see or you can't touch or it's not right in front of you, right? So
kind of, but that's the thing is with the internet, we can see these people. Like that's the people who have it. They're literally giving us like day-to-day updates, and they're like, I have a kind of a headache today. Like I feel tired. Like I can't breathe. That, and then they're like 3 weeks later, they're fine.
Yeah,
and that's 80% of cases. I guess they aren't filming like the old people who are actually dying of it. But they're also not on their phones because they're not young enough to like be on.
Might be worse. I'm telling you, it might be worse than they're leading on to. It might be like the Chernobyl scenes. I don't know if you saw
oh god,
those were bad.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's oh my god, a nuclear meltdown, literally. But that is something to fear. Like if someone was saying like we're I mean, that's literally the perfect example. We're responding worse to this virus than we did to a global nuclear meltdown that was happening in Chernobyl. Literally, no one was responding to that.
I mean, I'm telling you, it might be worse. Maybe they paid off Tom Hanks to say he has it, and then he's just acting all fine to make us look better. I mean, to make us feel better, you know?
They really did, because they kind of got the biggest, nicest guy, like America's dad, to get it. They're like, well, he's got it. So, like, if he's got it, anybody can get it.
And they'll be
fine.
He's
the nicest person on the planet. Like,
oh, man, now we're starting conspiracies now.
It's true, but that's kind of what it feels like.
You can't
not be like a rational person. Like, and especially when I read the articles, and they're like, it's just they're used such like crazy language. They're like, and it skyrocketed to over 41 people. And I'm like, 41 people, and you just used the word skyrocketed. And they're like, we over 1,000 people in the U.S. have it now. This is a pandemic. I'm like, and this, I think it was, I forget what article, but it was like a major publication. I was just like, what am I reading right now? Like, this is crazy. Like, I can't, if you're at all rational reading this and looking at the actual numbers and the language they're using, I'm like, they're trying to scare people. Like, they're taking dumb people.
A lot of it is the media.
Really
a lot of it, a lot of it is the media and the wordage they use and how they're reporting the news, right?
Yeah.
It's just right away makes people panic. I mean, if you think about it, if it was, I mean, there's more car accidents and car deaths daily than this
anything.
Thing. So
like literally, they're like smoking deaths, obesity deaths, like car wrecks. Like almost everything is scarier than this virus. Literally, almost everything. Like that's the thing is like no one has ever seen anything like this. So people can't help but think, or at least I can't help but think that it's kind of that train that everyone kind of has been jumping on. It's like that we saw it with like Weinstein, where it's just like that once that big thing drops, like a big thing kind of hit, it's like everything's so sensationalized that it's like that tornado kind of rips through, and like people start losing career, and like then everyone's like, oh my god, like do I have anything from my past? Because people are like losing jobs, losing like their careers over stuff that they did 10 years, tweets they sent like 10 years ago. And I'm like, so you're kind of seeing that again with this, but it's like almost like another power move. Like it's like this media is showing like, well, this is what we're capable of. Because when we shut down one major thing, no one wants to be on the wrong side of this. So everyone just kind of follows suit. And they're like, oh my God, like this is kind of crazy. Like, look, I mean, it almost seems like a power move, like, or it's just like a panic. Like everyone's just on that, like, I don't want to be like wrong. Like, I don't want to be the one who's not following the major players in this. Yeah. It's very weird, man. Like it's weird to sit back and watch. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. We'll see. Maybe out of this whole apocalyptic event we're having here, maybe we'll get one billionaire to put on the Batman suit and have a real life Batman. That's what we need.
Oh my god!
Someone fighting
the
crime.
Batman movie. I mean, well, they only went on a 2-week delay, so they're like, we're not. Yeah, we'll take a 2-week.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that someone in the cast or the director, I think, had it or was tested positive for it. I don't.
Batman.
So far, I think that was just a rumor. Yeah, the Batman. But I mean, it's been a while since we spoke, and then a lot of Batman stuff has come out. We got the
god, how awesome has it looked?
Yeah, the first
that first stuff that came out, the first couple of pictures, I was like, this didn't look good at all.
Yeah.
Like, it was like that weird. It was like clearly not Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
there was a stunt double or whatever on the motorcycle. And
we got that red one first, that red video sneak.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So we got that. Then we got.
Well, that was weird too. That one didn't get me that excited.
No,
I was
it didn't
very
either.
cautious.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this looks like an S&M suit. Like,
yeah,
it was very strange.
And then then we got the behind the scenes with the bike and stuff, and then we got the Batmobile, and now it's been delayed, so we don't know if we'll ever see it.
Yeah, that Batmobile, but those shots, dude, those are the ones they should have released first, like because it made it look like. Oh man, it's the way I wish they always have done Batman, like almost like a film noir, but like a Batman. And he said it's kind of going to be a detective story. I'm like, hell yes, like that's what I want. Yeah. Like that's what I was hoping to come from this movie, and it's like now we're finally getting like the photos and the words that are kind of like pushing everyone's mind frame into that direction. And I'm like, now I'm excited. Like, now I want that movie.
The same thing. Like when I first saw that red video, I immediately got taken back to Netflix Daredevil. Just the cowl, it looks very familiar. And then the Batmobile, I'm okay with it. And it doesn't look bad. I mean, a lot of people say it doesn't look great, but I thought it looks good.
I think it just looks cool. Like it looks like, I mean, it looks like it's just like almost kind of like a normal car. Like it's almost like an old school like roadster, or just like a muscle car that it's just going to be like, I mean, for Robert Pattinson to be driving is because it's like a tough car. Like it looks like a badass's car. And so you're hoping that like, I don't know, like I feel like it's going to kind of take a more kind of like Nolan stuff, like a more scaled back, a little bit more realistic approach, but it's also going to be more of like a film noir, like a detective story which
is what everybody's been waiting for, really. Well, any Batman fan.
I mean, I know I have.
Yeah, I have as well. Matt Reeves had already said it was going to be, everything he wanted it to look like. Bruce Wayne was actually making this stuff at home, the suit, the car. So so far it looks that way. Yeah. I know I've gone into a few Instagram arguments and stuff for this. But I mean, one of the things was like, a lot of people were like, well, isn't he a billionaire? Like, why is this stuff not looking better? I mean, it makes sense. Like, if you think you had billions of dollars, you would have access to stuff that nobody else has access to.
Kind of. I mean, I think it's like, but if he's doing a lot of the work himself, he can't, because he doesn't want anyone to know that he's Batman.
Yeah, that's what.
So you can't just hire people to come because they're like, dude, now I have to kill you, or like you have to like.
He doesn't kill,
if
so
he's
just
doing
beat
a
the
lot
shit
of the
out of
work
them
himself, or if because it's always like a small group. It's like him, Alfred, and like it was like Robin for a little while, and they were the ones creating all their own stuff because you can't have even like the whole bat layer and all that stuff like. They have to put all that stuff together. You can't have outside people coming in and being like, oh, Bruce Wayne has a bat layer down there. Like I put it together. Like I was the mechanic on the whatever, the electrician on it. So it's like,
so I don't know. I mean, it looks all right. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the mask so far, like the cowl, but
it looks very. Like I was saying, kind of like S&M, like almost like sexual. Like I was like, it's very like.
What it reminded me was of the 1960s Batman, like that little mask, the cowl he wears. It looks a lot like it. Same thing with the Batmobile. It looks
well. You can also see like the stitching, like around the lining.
Yeah,
you
see the stitching.
I mean, it's It does. It kind of has this leather. Like I keep thinking like S&M. Like I keep seeing like a guy in like a latex suit that's kind of
with a ball gag.
But I'm hoping that's kind of just. I don't know if that's like the final one. Because even photos of like the car and stuff like that. I'm like, it looked cooler. Like it looked like, and maybe they had some distance on. We didn't get like a real good look at him, but like his body armor, everything looked pretty bad.
That's what I've been holding judgment on it, because you don't know the context of the movie or what backstory you're gonna give it, and then
it's gonna
the
be
way
great.
it's filmed is gonna be
on it so hard. Like I was just like, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
And like but as soon as I saw I'm like, that's it, perfect. And even the images, like because they're doing like that kind of like rich dark leather. Like leather seats, like kind of like it. They're making it look like, I don't know, just like that very kind of like wealthy, but like old school wealth. He's not like a modern wealthy guy. He's like old money.
Yeah.
And it looks bad. Like I genuinely think the visuals and the style of it, I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to look good. That's what I've been holding judgment on, is because you'll never, like, I don't know, pictures and stuff. It might look crappy, but once it's shot and the angles they give it, the lighting, it changes everything, So
yeah.
So I'm waiting to see a trailer or something, and then we'll find out how it looks, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, in my head now, from like just those, I'm like, it's gonna be good. Like I just feel like it's gonna be awesome.
I think it's gonna be good too. I mean,
me too.
I really enjoyed Ben Affleck's Batman. I wish he would have got a movie, but I mean, this is what we get now. So
yeah, DC really blew their whole thing apart from the beginning. Like they were just kind of a mess, because Superman should have got another movie after Man of Steel, because we just got introduced really to Clark Kent like as like the reporter at the very end of the movie. They should have given him a whole nother story, Ben Affleck another story, and then done Batman versus, I mean, if they would have taken their time with it, it could have been an amazing. I genuinely think people still like DC more than Marvel.
Yeah.
But Marvel just did such a better job with every aspect. And like I don't even know why DC was trying to play Marvel's game. They should have just done their own thing and like not competed with them, and just like, dude, just take the slow route also. The fans are into it. Like, we wanted to go to those movies, and they just fucked it all up. Whoever their showrunner was behind all of it was just a moron. Like, just really bad.
I don't know. They messed it up bad, but
really
I mean,
bad.
It seems like they're coming back on track. Although that's what was it? Was it Suicide Squad? No, it was that Harley Quinn movie. That didn't do too well.
Well, it wasn't good. I don't know why people are like, it's silly. Like, it's like a silly, funny kind of movie, but by no means is it like a good movie. Like, it's just like, it's fun. Like, it's just like a fun kind of, the way comic book movies were back in the 90s with like Tim Burton and all that. Like, it was just kind of like silly, and then they got even more outrageous when like Joel Schumacher took over them and stuff like that. That's what this feels like.
I mean,
so
I haven't seen it, but when I saw the trailer right away, it reminded me like they're trying to do like a Deadpool thing with it.
They literally are ripping off Deadpool. Like, it's like a female version of ripping off Deadpool. It's just, and it's so gratuitously violent for literally no reason.
Yeah.
Like, there's like 3 scenes that they could easily edit out where it's like pretty graphic. Like, even I was like, Jesus. And it's just, it almost serves zero purpose. It didn't make the story any better. It didn't make you like the villain or hate the villain anymore. It just was like, we're doing something shocking. Like, it was kind of tasteless, really. I mean, it just wasn't good. It wasn't a great movie.
Yeah. So I mean, they're trying to get back on track. We'll see.
I genuinely think this Batman movie might be the only way they can do it. Like,
but it should have been from the beginning. They should have came out with a Batman movie, and Man of Steel too. That's all they had to do.
All they had to do, literally, and then just kind of slowly introduce the other characters. Like, give them each their own individual movies, so that way when Justice League happened, people, like, you're introduced to everybody. You're not giving like these 10-minute backstories to like Cyborg and like all this stuff, because I'm like, it just, I mean, we could talk about this forever, just how they screwed this up. And that's the thing, is I I still like, as much as DC has bombed everything and done a terrible job, I still liked all the characters.
Yeah, I prefer those characters
way more. Way more.
Yeah, I prefer those characters than Marvel characters. Well, I mean, now in movies, I would rather watch the Marvel characters.
Of course.
But
me too.
Nothing beats a good Batman movie, though.
Hell no. And I feel like the way they're going to do this new Batman is going to be... It when I first started hearing the news about it, it made me cautious because it just seemed very oversaturated. They're like, we're going to have Catwoman in it. We're going to have Penguin in it. We're going to have Two-Face in it. We're going to have... I was like, oh my God, like, you guys, did you not learn from all DC's other mistakes? Like, slow and steady. That's what people want. That's what people buy into. Just play it smart. But I feel like Matt Reeves is not dumb. Like, he's just not... He's going to do a good job.
Yeah. Another rumor out of this Batman was that they possible casting rumors of Johnny Depp as Joker, which I don't want to see.
No, I mean, he's already, what's his name, in the Beasts of...
the Harry Potter movies?
Beasts. Yeah, the Harry Potter. I mean, who was it Paul Dano, didn't they get him to play Riddler?
Riddler, yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah,
like,
that's
like
cool.
That's a cool choice.
That's
but
cool. Honestly, I would now is the perfect time to try and get it to all mesh together and get Joaquin Phoenix in as the Joker.
Yeah, right? I mean, it could totally work.
Maybe not even. Don't give him a huge role. Just maybe have him pop in there or have him mentioned or a picture or something, and then you're like.
I genuinely don't think that's off the table. Like, I don't know what time period this new Batman's going to be set in, but if it's at all, like, maybe that's why his car looks kind of older too, because it's like, it looks like a 70s muscle car, and the Joker is set like in the 70s, like around that era. Yeah. So maybe they're kind of making it before cell phones, before like all that gadgetry. They're making it kind of old school feeling, which I think is badass. But if they do that, they're definitely leaving it open to where Joker could possibly enter that world, because it's in the same like time period.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be like they say it's an older Joker, but I don't mind that. I mean, they could easily be like, oh, Joker was on a hiatus. Batman came back as a reason why Joker's coming back, into crime and stuff, and then connected that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I want. Like, that would be amazing if all that happened.
Yeah. We'll see. I really can't wait for a trailer for this one, though. I would really want to see how it's gonna look.
Oh, me neither, dude. The first post, like, this is the kind of movie that I always wait for. It's like, you hear the casting rumors, then you hear like the directing rumors, and then it's like all these things start to like piece together, and so like it's like the journey of like, because most people are just like, they just see the first trailer and they're like, oh, like, that's cool, I can't wait to see that. I'm like, dude, most movies I've been following are from the initial like rumors of like what's happening. So by the time you're sitting in that theater, it's been like a 2-year journey of just like because then you're like, then you get the first images, then you get the first poster, then you get the like teaser trailer, then you get the actual trailer, and then by the time you're sitting in that theater, you're like, I can't fucking wait. Like, holy shit. Like, this has been 2 years. I'm now in that seat, like, so excited. And then, but that's the thing, is when the movie delivers, there's literally nothing better. And then, but your anticipation is so high that when it's bad, you're like, even if it's like mildly good, you're like, oh, like you walk out of the theater just kind of like bummed out. But there's literally never a better feeling than when it's amazing, than when it's exactly what you were hoping for and more. But yeah, I can't.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
nah, I'm not even mad at the whole Robert Pattinson thing. I think he's gonna work out.
Me too. I think he'll be fine. He'll be great. Like, he's just a good actor. Like, he's been around for long enough. He's proven himself in so many different types of roles, and like, he's gonna be just a very moody, broody kind of Batman, which he'll be great. He'll be fine.
Yeah, it's just sometimes they get into some actors get into a big like movie, and that it's hard for them to get out of that stigma, and I think that's what's happening with Robert Pattinson and the whole Twilight thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, he spent that was kind of the beginning of his career, and he spent literally since those movies, he's done nothing but pretty much independent films and done a range. He basically built his credibility back up. If you at all want to if you only know Robert Pattinson from the Twilight movies, you don't know Robert Pattinson. People need to, if they need to go back and kind of look at what he's done, because the stuff he's done is pretty good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's just hard to tell people that, because I'm telling you, they have this
locked in. That's
locked in, and then they're like, I'm not gonna watch a Robert Pattinson movie.
They will. They just say that now, but then once they hear, oh my god, it's awesome, they're just those are people who aren't real movie lovers. They're not real cinephiles. Yeah. They just they're average, whatever. And that's most people. That's fine. Cause
that is most.
Yeah, it's I don't even argue with them. I'm like, yeah, totally. But I guarantee you'll see it. You will. Yeah. You think you won't until you hear how awesome it is. And then. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of I always think of it with stocks and trading. Cause I'm I know nothing about any of that world. And so when people are if I get vague information, I'm oh yeah, well, I think about it this, and this, and a real trader is just well, yeah, of course you would think that, because that's all you know about it, because that's what's hit mass media. But if you've at all done any research, you'll know to buy this, this, and this. And so that's kind of how movies is just my arena. It's just what I know about. And I see everything. I've studied almost every actor, every director, especially if I like them, I've watched every single thing they've ever done. And which is it's kind of fun. So you can I guess that's why people listen to us more through Instagram and podcasts and stuff like that, is because they're learning a little bit, because we're doing the research. I've seen most people don't have the time to watch, because some of the movies are bad. Some independent movies are just not that great and not that interesting, but I'll still see them, and I won't even recommend them to people. But it's you're just gaining more information about the actor, the director, the writer, the composer, all that stuff.
True.
Yeah.
One thing, another show that we've been wanting to talk about, we've actually talked about over messages, is The Outsiders.
Yeah.
Finale. It finally finished. The whole series is out on HBO. Yeah. Crazy.
Man, I just I hate it, because I was so disappointed by it, because it started off so strong and I loved it. The first 3 episodes were so good. And then it's most things with Stephen King, where it just it didn't at the end. I wanted such a cool conversation at the end.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen. There was no moment where I was ever oh, Al Cuco's scary. He's a terrifying. You never saw him. You kind of saw.
No.
I mean, I could tear this last episode apart for
yeah,
especially when he started shifting faces so quickly, at the end, as he was supposedly dying or whatever. It's you see him transform back into the people that he was, and I'm so if he could do that the whole time, I'm is that his dying process, or can he always transform? Because why didn't he do that all the time and just hide?
Yeah, it took 30 days or something like that for him to fully morph
into something new. But if he can transform into what he used to be, past forms quickly, I'm why wouldn't he just do that all the time? And because you never knew who you were looking for.
The writers, directors, I'm not sure what they were. I can't remember right now, but at the end, they have a behind the scenes thing, and then they talk about it. They're it was just as he was dying, he would go back to his original form and kind of show, and was kind of showing what was the cop's name? Jack? Was it Jack?
No, fuck, I can't even remember.
No, Jack was the other guy. Well, whatever. He was showing him, kind of mocking him, oh, these are all the people I've been before. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
and then
I was disappointed as
also,
well.
And then when what's his name, the now I'm not going to remember any of their names. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen it. But as Holly and the other cop are talking to him, and the guy who he is, and the whole time they're don't say anything. And I wish I could remember the other guy's name now. the guy he had turned into. They're like, don't say anything in front of him. Like if you say it in front of him, like he's going to have all the information, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the show, the guy comes walking up with a shotgun. I'm like, wouldn't you have known the whole time that he's walking
that he was coming?
Like I was like, and that he's coming and like all this stuff, and that I don't know, there's
or what he's thinking or what he's about to do.
And then he actually shoots him, and then like the whole thing is like supposedly crumbles, and they kind of like run off into a corner. And then it like just cuts to like the next thing where they're like walking back in there and like there's no dust, no nothing. So I'm like, has it been hours since they like are coming back in, or like has it like it's been 20 minutes? Like what just happened? Like it's like all these like weird. It's just bad filmmaking. Like it's bad like logic errors, and so stuff like that. Like once I start picking something apart, it's so hard for me to get back under that spell of movie magic where I'm like, you guys just messed up. Like you guys basically just didn't use, I mean, there was so many, even the part where he's like shooting, that was probably the best scene in the whole show, is where he's actually up top, like shooting people down below. But then, when Holly comes out and she's like damns him to hell, and all of a sudden like some like logic kind of seeps in. He's like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this and blah, blah. I'm like, there's just too many moments where I was like, they don't know what they're doing. Like they're just kind of throwing this together, which is like is not what I wanted at all, because the premise is so cool. It was such a cool idea, and they just didn't deliver the way I wanted it.
It's weird. Like actually, Jack is the guy that's shooting at them. He ended up being more of a threat than the actual demon itself.
Yeah, and they never explained why or how he could control him. Like they just like all of a sudden he just has that stuff on the back of his neck. Like the boy, like they literally never even talk about that. Like there's not like a moment where they're like why he can control other people as well as be like another person. So
it definitely felt short. It felt short, and I don't know. It wasn't satisfying that end.
No, not at all. I mean, that's the thing is like I really wanted to be scared of El Cuco. Like I wanted it to be like this like conversation where you like he gives you like a little backstory about like just kind of how like dark and creepy and how he stays hidden, and like he like just something more, something like really creative, something where I was just like, damn, like it just kind of seems like because the way they kill him is like he's just a normal guy too. They just drop a rock on his head and it's like, oh, well, it's over. I'm like, well, that was okay. So he can get shot and die. He just dies normal. So I'm like, he's basically a shitty human being. He's basically a person who can just turn into other people. Like that's all he is. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted. Like I wanted like it to be like really scary. But yeah. I mean, I really wanted to like that show. I was super into it in the beginning too. Like that opening premise, the whole idea was so good.
I was into it the whole way except for that last episode. Like it really, and then the worst part is that they kill him off in like the first quarter of the whole episode.
Yeah,
and then there's like now what?
Yeah, and then they have there were two scenes that were kind of touching, like that scene where the lawyer goes and like talks to what's his name's wife, and basically explains that they messed up, like, and like that moment I was like that was like a really well shot scene, like it like was paced well, like I really felt like an emotional connection where I was just like, yeah, like he's basically apologizing, because there's no, like when your husband, like the person you love the most in the world, like you're questioning who they are, like you thought they were a murderer, that they killed a child, like to apologize for that, like that scene I thought was really powerful and actually really well done. So like there was like still moments, it was actually like a better drama. But the way they just handled El Cuco, I thought was so boring. But like that aspect, I thought was really good.
I think that the way they handled him, it was all to set up a second season. When I feel like they should have been just one season and leave it alone.
I don't even know if I'll watch the second season. Like I'm just not that invested at all. And then Holly, I really liked Holly. I mean, so it was kind of strange because like initially, like when I saw who was playing Holly, like it was like Cynthia Erivo. It was like a black woman, all this stuff, and I was like, okay. In my head, I just kind of think it's the times that we're in. They're just casting a black actress in a major role because that's just what we're doing now. Like we're putting like all these people in like these roles and stuff. But that last scene, it literally made me just question like how perfect she was for the role the whole time. Because when she says like an outsider recognizes an outsider, and I'm like, oh my God, even my prejudgments on why they even cast her, like a black woman, in this role, she's still an outsider. Like, and like, even just like her being black, her being a woman, her being different, her being like all this stuff. It's like, even because I never think I'm like prejudging stuff, and I'm like, even I still do it. Like, and even I was just like, oh, like I didn't care that it was a black woman like in this role, but I also just thought like the reason they cast her was for the reason like all these other people are being cast in these roles, and I was like, no, she actually was. She was perfect for it. Like they 100%, she's still an outsider. Cause like, no matter what, even like though black people and people of color are like getting all these roles right now, it's like you're still kind of looking at them like they're outsiders getting the role. Like it's like still this adjusting time in culture where it's like you're watching this stuff, but you're also saying like, because it's a weird thing where it's like, well, did they earn it or are they just giving them the?
Yeah, we're at that point where it's either are they perfect for the role? Are they good at what they do, or are they just giving it to them to fill a social quota? I guess
exactly. But like so it's kind of cool because they played on that almost like stereotype a little bit, and then they brought it all home with so those last two scenes I actually thought were really powerful. Like that was really well done. I liked the dialogue. Like I liked, and then how she said like, oh, that last moment too, where he says, is there anything else out there like that? And she kind of smiles and she's like, maybe. But like that moment too made me really excited because I'm like, just because El Cuco was out there and it was dangerous and scary, she also was putting out there that like, well, yeah, there could be something else out there, but it could be amazing. It could be this other thing that you don't know about that's like magical and amazing and wonderful, like this thing that's in the world that's really good, and she could be a version of that. But it's like, I think that little twist, that little kind of like, I was like, that was great. It was just very subtle but very like, and it kind of showed you who she was too, that she's still like an optimist. Like she can see these like really shitty, be treated poorly, all this stuff, but she still is just like, no, there's still like this magic, there's still like the other things in the world that could be wonderful as well, which is cool. I like that part.
I just feel like it's try to set it up for a second season too much. I mean there was a lot of little clues left behind. One thing I picked up on is how the detective when he goes in the cave with Holly, he's carrying this jacket. And I remember saying, why is he carrying his jacket for? It's not like you're in the middle of action right now. Like, but it was all set up because he ends up leaving in the cave, and actually one of the last shots is the jacket in the cave. I don't know if you picked up on that. No,
I didn't.
And they just show the jacket laying there, and then they pan out to something else, right? So they made a point of that. Then there's the after credits scene. Oh, actually, like some of the questions she's asking Holly to El Cuco was, is there more? She kept asking, is there more like you? Is there? And then at the very end, at the after credit scenes, you see her. She sees Jack in the mirror. I don't know if you saw that scene. Yeah. She sees Jack in the mirror behind her, and then she has a scratch of her own on her arm. And then later you see her playing with her hair, and then you see the hair kind of curl around her hand. Now that could just be how they played it. They look like they played it in reverse.
I actually didn't pick up on that. I didn't pick up the hair. I'll have to watch it again now because I picked up the scratch and all that, but I didn't pick up the hair doing it.
Yeah, she's playing with her hair, and the hair by itself curls around her hand.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
So it's either they did it on purpose, or they played it, or they didn't do it on purpose, and it was just played in reverse. And it picked up. It looks odd. It looks
weird. I'm literally gonna go watch that right after we finish. Now,
watch it because I saw it right away, and I was like, oh, she's not who she says she is.
Oh, so that's funny because even what I was just saying about that, like her being maybe magical, or like she's like another version of that.
That's what I picked up. So he's like, is there more? And when she says maybe, it's her saying like, yeah, there's more, and she might be one.
She's like another version. of. She's not El Cuco.
If there's demons, maybe there's angels.
Yeah,
maybe she's
that's kind of what I
like
picked
an
up on. That she might
thing.
be like an angel version of this, like something positive in the world that's like mysterious. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the stuff I picked up on, and I was like, oh, so maybe that's what they're gonna explore in season 2.
I mean, that makes it more interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But that's funny because I didn't pick up on the hair part. Now I like really want to go see that.
Yeah, and then the jacket, because I was like, man, there's DNA on that jacket. He's not even dead. He's gonna.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I wish. So I mean, that does kind of make me, just that little part, even what you said, kind of makes me like the idea that maybe there'll be I just want it to. I mean, that's the thing, is when shows don't get the details right, and when they don't like kind of play off. It's weird. I guess I kind of just have like mixed feelings about this season, though, is because there were parts that I really liked about it, and there were parts that just like didn't come together well. So I guess
I think my favorite parts were when El Cuco was still a mysterious entity, and we didn't see him. Like once we started seeing him and exploring him is when the show went downhill.
Yeah, because they really didn't handle El Cuco right. Like that's the biggest part. If they would have made him far scarier, far threatening, more malevolent, like something just like. And like even just kind of get into like his back, like how long has he been around? How long has he been doing this? How many people has he transformed into? Like even that part when he was transforming backwards, if they would have gone even into him like looking like an old president or like something like super crazy, like you're just like, oh shit, like he's been around since like Nixon was him, or like whatever it is, like something like that,
or not even that, but maybe like one of them, you know,
something.
Like,
I mean,
if he would have looked like one of them, or even like. You would have been like, well, what did he do while he was them, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
something. Another thing I wasn't too sure about was so you see that like the DA person or the other lawyer, the guy that talks to the wife at the very end, he keeps reviewing that video of Terry Maitland is his name, in the bar, and how he like their interaction, and then he pauses it as he's walking out of the bathroom, and he keeps watching that while they're getting shot at. It's all happening and they're in the same thing, I think. But I'm like, why does he keep watching that video? Like it's acted like he sees something, like he's noticing something. And then he gets a call about a kid dying. They found the kid torn apart and whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Cuco was in the cave.
Yeah.
So did that happen before, or was that happening at the same time?
Yeah.
Because then that would mean there was another one out there.
Yeah, that's true. Because I don't know. Like, because I forgot about that part too. Because like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't have any answers.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, I'm telling you, it seemed like it's all setting up the second season. We'll have to wait
now even just after having that, because I wasn't even excited about watching the second season. I was like, I think that might be it. But I was like, now just after talking to you, I'm like, okay, I might watch the second season.
Maybe I want to watch the second season.
But that's the thing, is like, they were so like, it started off so good that I'm hoping now that if they branch out. So here's the thing I've always thought with Stephen King stuff. Is the people that do the best Stephen King adaptations are the ones who really steer away from Stephen King's original work. Like, if they take his general idea, they take like what he's like, the feeling and the like basic concept of what his stories are about, but then they tweak it to where it's just better. Like it films better, it translates better. And I'm like, Kubrick did it, and that's why
The Shining.
Yeah, I mean, that's why King hates Kubrick, is because he didn't like his version of it at all. But it's also considered the fucking greatest horror movie of all time. Like, I mean, there's just little tweaks that he made, even just from Jack Torrance using an axe instead of a croquet mallet. Like, it's just little stuff like that just make it better and more intimidating and scarier. And then it's like Frank Darabont did it with Shawshank Redemption, and what's his name did it with. Rob Reiner did it with Stand By Me, because like if you ever I don't know if you've ever read The Body, that what's the Stand By Me is based off of.
No, I haven't read it. No.
It's I mean, it's just not great. It's fine, but Stand By Me was made into a far better story than the book actually, because like there's like horror elements to The Body, where like what's his name, Gordy's dead brother is. Mm-hmm. You'll see him as like a zombie kind of. He has like worms and shit like coming out of his face, and he sees him like a closet, and it's actually kind of scary. And obviously they don't do that in Stand By Me.
Yeah.
So it's like the movies that are actually good versions of Stephen King work really aren't actual Stephen King adaptations. They just kind of take his ideas and then make it better. Based off of, which is when when they stick to like the adaptation like strictly, it's just not. It's always bad.
The most recent one was I really enjoyed was Dr. Sleep.
Hell yeah, that's one of, I think it's the most underrated horror movie of last year. That movie was fantastic.
It's really good. So I'm really surprised how many people missed it. Cause
I don't know why
I
either.
really like that movie.
I saw it twice in theaters, and I immediately thought it was great. And then it's like, and then it bombed at the box office, and I'm like, the trailers didn't look great, but they didn't look bad. And then the movie was far better than the trailers even were. So
yeah, it's a really good movie, and but I think with Stephen King stuff, he writes it. It's better read. You know, when you read it, it's better. A great book, right? But once it's transferred over to film, it just doesn't play the same. So you got to do your thing with it. You know, you got to base it off his work, but not go
exactly.
straight.
Like even it too is the perfect example of that, because it's like because Stephen King always is. You can start his stuff well because they're all the general broad ideas that you're getting across, and it's really scary and really good. But when you get kind of deeper into like how to end it is when it gets kind of silly and like over the top. Like even it too, the reason it too is so bad is like you get an evil Paul Bunyan, which is like they could have just changed that completely. They get the like weird silly scene at the Chinese restaurant when there's like eyeballs and like all that stuff. Like written, I remember reading that, and it's super creepy, and you kind of get the sense of like what's going on, but when you're watching it, it just looks silly and ridiculous, and it's not scary anymore. And once you make a horror film not scary, it's so hard to ever take it seriously again. And that's why it too was just not as good as it won, is because like it got too tied into like the close adaptation of what Stephen King wrote.
Someone that I hope is having a scary time is Harvey Weinstein. He was sentenced to 23 years. But it's kind of crazy. Like, I wonder if he's in there right now being like, well, I'd rather be here than outside because the world is falling apart.
I mean, we're basically all prisoners. We're all going through it. Harvey Weinstein's going through a little bit. Like, Jesus. Yeah, we're all on lockdown now. But yeah, man, 23 years in prison. I mean, that's no joke. He's living out the end of his days behind bars. Like, he'll probably last. I'm not even going to give him 10 years in there. Like, he'll be dead. He looks like shit. Like, when you look at him, you see pictures of him, he's on crutches. Like, he just
kind of like Cosby. But you know what's funny, as these both Cosby and Weinstein, as the trials go, they start looking worse and worse. You know, so I don't know if it's a tactic by their attorneys to be like, look, we're gonna make you look as bad as possible.
Dude, just imagine your whole life, like you're doing something, like even if you're like a serial killer, like you're just doing something fucked up all the time. Like that's where your thoughts are always going to, like, because it's always like, how do I get away with this? Everything in your life is very much like a power move, like to intimidate someone either into not saying something, and you're kind of like building up your ego the whole time on it. And you're like, and you feel powerful. Like people are telling you you're like a god, and like they're like worshiping you basically, and you're doing just these awful, disgusting things. And then it all comes out, and people are like, oh my God, you're just. So it's like that whole ego, everything who they are, all their health, all their body, like everything who they are is just crumbling emotionally, internally, and they just become these weak, fragile. They become what they always actually were without the being hidden. And now they're just like this disgusting, vulnerable, like just filled with like shame and hate and like, because everything about who they were is like, it's stuff they knew they probably hated about themselves, but they just kept feeding into it because they were getting away with it. And like the fact that they were getting away with it and no one was saying anything or doing anything about it, they almost made themselves believe it was okay. And then now they're getting all that repercussion, and it's just, they're just shells of themselves, which is, it's really honestly pretty fascinating to see.
Yeah. I mean, a perfect interpretation of what you're explaining would be Steve Carell on The Morning Show.
Who? I'm not sure who that is.
In The Morning Show?
Oh, in the show. Gotcha.
It?
Yeah. I thought you were talking about.
No, not real. Not real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what that show's about. You know.
No, it's true, because he doesn't like. Well, that's I actually really, really, really like The Morning Show. Like that show, I thought was really well done, because it's very complicated and very, like, it hits on a lot of obviously key things that are going on right now. And because I really like when Steve Carell's having that conversation with Martin Short, and like, and they're kind of like commiserating together. And then Steve Carell, the fact that like he's like with this guy who's his friend, and his friend starts saying like kind of like the more really messed up things that he'd done, like almost with like younger girls, and he's like, oh well, he's like, in that moment where he's like, well, you really are a monster. Like the fact that I'm even like, that's the first moment where I think he actually questioned himself and being like, oh, like this is the person I'm literally like siding myself. Like he's on my side, and I'm like, but that guy's a monster. Like that guy really is doing stuff that even I don't think is okay. So that's like the moment where he's like, well, is what I did okay? And then clearly it wasn't. So then but that show, it's really well done. I don't think that show gets nearly enough credit as it deserves, actually.
Definitely not. It is a really well done show. I like how they don't push an agenda, really. They let you see both sides of the coin.
No one's innocent. No one's innocent. No one's fully guilty. Like, because, dude, even as guys, like, I remember being in high school, in college, and you're figuring out girls and you're figuring all this stuff. And I just remember girls like going for these assholes, like just going for guys who really treated them like shit. And I'm like, is that? And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, is that how I'm supposed to treat girls? Like, is that how I'm supposed to, like, because it's like,
is that how?
Like you don't know, like you're figuring it out. And like, I just never felt good if ever I was like rude. But it's like, I also was treated like shit by girls because I was genuinely just kind of confused. Like I was kind of just like watching, like I knew I liked him, but it's intimidating, man. It's just, as a guy, like I don't think they ever paint, like, because now it's all like women this, women that, like guys are fucked up, all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, we're just as confused. Like we have no clue what's going on. Like most guys are just kind of figuring it out based off what girls are showing us and teaching us as well. And so like, because I never wanted to be a creep, I never wanted to be an asshole, but it's like at the same time, if you were kind of nice or a little shy or like intimidated, like you were basically, most girls are pretty rude. Like they were kind of like not like mean, but they were very much like, don't talk to me. Like, I don't want you around. And I was like, oh, got it. Cool. I won't be coming back. Like, but if you were like a dick, like it was almost like they responded so well to it. And I'm like, well, I can't do that.
I mean, just like in the show, like, she walks up to the room with him, right?
Yeah.
She never says no. She never says stop. She froze, she says. Yeah. But I like how it shows his side of it. And it's like, you can't read someone's mind.
No, you can't at all. Like,
you can't. So, like, how are you supposed to, like,
back up to your hotel room? You're there. Like, you're like, dude, I made it. Like, this is like all the hard work.
After drinks, like, dinner,
it's done. You know? Like, you're at the, like, that's like 10 feet away from the finish line. So it's like and especially when they like go through with it, I don't like, there were so many pieces that were falling into place the whole time that like, and even if they said no, right when they're getting undressed, it's over, game over. Like you don't do it. But if there's no,
but if you never say
happens,
anything,
dude, I don't know how the guy can be held accountable. Like, I guess their intent, like girls just don't think it's ever going to be sexual. Like they're just like, they want to believe that a guy just wants to be around them because like they just want to be around them because they like them as a person and all that stuff. And that's great in theory. Like it is like, that's how that would be nice. But I'm like, dude, most things with most people, why do you think sex sells? Like a lot of things for a majority of people fall down to sex. Like the way people dress, the reason guys get into anything in the beginning, like why do they develop a sense of humor? Why do they buy nice cars? Why do they have nice clothes on? Like it's all to be attractive. It's all purely based around sex. So it's like to think that sex is not part of the equation when it comes to male and female is just be naive. Yeah. It's dumb. Like that's like a dumb perspective to take. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I work with a bunch of guys. I know 98% of the time that's going to be the reason.
It's all we talk about all the time. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun but I know, like, I remember growing up with guys who talked about girls in awful ways, and that's why I always felt bad for girls, because like I would see that girl, like a girl that I knew and like liked, hook up with this guy. And I'm like, I know he's a scumbag. She knows he's an asshole, but she doesn't even know how much of an asshole he is, because she doesn't hear all the things that he says to guys. And so, but girls still would hook up with these assholes. And I'm like, so it is weird that like most guys have a different perspective on guys than girls do. And we watch girls hook up with assholes, but we also don't get what's attractive about them, because I know those guys and I'm like, they're awful. Like they were really like bad. They were just people that even when I like heard them talk, because I had sisters, it would always just make me feel gross. Like I was just like, oh dude, like you're like really fucking terrible. And it's like, and even when people would call him out on it, it was like, it's funny because I have one person in my mind and I'm still just locked in on it. But it's like, but I remember, I mean, that's the thing, is you grow up and like, it's just so confusing. But to have,
it's difficult. I mean, most guys, that's the end goal, right? Like 98% of the time, if they're gonna take, that's what they're thinking, right? And then
that's
for you to come by,
it ends up to, because me, it's like I was never, dude. If I would have slept with one girl my whole life and I was super into that girl, I would have been happy. Like I was not a guy who like prided myself on like sleeping with a lot of girls or doing anything like that. And it was just, but it was confusing because like girls almost, I think most people are kind of like experiencing things, trying things out, stuff like that. And so they are trying on people also. But for me, that always felt weird because like I was just a guy who got attached. Like if I slept with a girl, like it wasn't because I actually liked her. Like I liked that person.
Yeah.
And so it was weird for me if it like didn't go well, because like I always went in with the intention that like I was only sleeping with people that I really liked. And I think most girls kind of would just be like, oh, like, especially living in Vegas, man, because I lived in Vegas through most of my formative years, which is super confusing. But it was like most girls I remember, I would get yelled at if I told them I didn't want to sleep with them. Like it was like we'd kind of like be making out, stuff like that, and they'd like want to have sex, and then all of a sudden like I wouldn't do it. And they would be like, well, like it was almost like they weren't good enough, so they would get mad, like really mad. I was like, get mad, this is really confusing. Like, so it's like, dude, that's
what I'm saying. And then if you never say no, like, there's no way anyone could read your mind.
Exactly. Like, I mean, exactly. Like, there's no. People have to be accountable on all spectrums of it, but for some reason, like, I mean, I get why men are in trouble now. It's because we're in power. Like that. It's all everything that's going on right now is all just power moves. It's all like, dude, I honestly think most of what's going on with this virus is a power move. Like it's very much like the media and all these people kind of flexing like the power that they have. They're like, oh, like if we do this one thing, everyone else will follow suit because that's how much power we have. And I'm like, this all kind of feels like it's the same thing, and it's kind of gross. Like as you're like watching it, it's like no one really has the general public in mind anymore. It's all just these weird, gross power moves.
I think that's the biggest issue, is that it's all these people in power that have done it, where I guess they were held at a higher standard because it's someone in your staff, say.
Yeah. I mean, they're leaders.
And,
there are leaders.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, we're starting to figure out that a lot of our leaders are pretty gross, and a lot of the things that we respect are pretty disgusting. Like, it's all materialistic. It's all shallow bullshit, and so it's like
they're just another guy in a locker room.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
and you hold them at a higher standard. You think they're better than,
I think we
than the average.
Hold our leaders to higher standards, but that's it. The people that we have, dude. Everything, dude. I mean, the pressure that's on them is monumental, but it's like look at what's the biker, the racer's name? I don't even remember his name anymore. So Lance Armstrong. Dude, all our doping athletes, literally every person that you kind of hold as like the pinnacle, they all just are kind of gross. Like this kind of have like this weird, and so it's like we're at this point where like we're trying to bring all these guys down, I guess, but it's also we're not putting better people into place. Like it's not like we're getting like these really moral, like good people in their positions, because honestly, really good moral people, I don't feel like really want true positions.
They don't want that position,
they really don't want it. Like they don't like. They're just more simple. They kind of like taking care of their family, taking care of the ones they love. They're not looking for that grandiose kind of like pinnacle of the like tower, whatever it is, mentality. So it's the people who rise there. They kind of have like this weird, sick. They don't look at people as like just. They're almost like an obstacle. So it's like, I mean, it's all, dude. I feel like it's all tied together, like in like these weird strings, like even everything we're going through right now with this virus, I feel like it's still tied to like all this political shit that's kind of happening right now, and we're just kind of watching another flexing of power, and we're all just like dealing with it, but we're just watching the chaos. It's basically another Harvey Weinstein. That's literally what this is. It's just like now it's shutting down our economy, which is scary because it is. I am not scared of this virus. I don't think anybody really is. And I'm like, it's just this whole thing. Yeah, kind of nuts.
Well, we went through all our main topics, but really quick, I know we're in quarantine. Well, not yet, but pretty much. What are you going to be watching?
What am I watching?
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Like I go through these weird stages in my life where it's like, and I never know where they're going to come from, what's going to trigger it. Like it's just, I've done it with like every director I've ever loved, every actor I've ever loved, or I end up finding like something that I like by them, and I watch everything they've ever done. And right now, it's one of the strangest ones I've ever had happen to me is Agatha Christie, the kind of mystery writer. So she does like murder mysteries, kind of like the Knives Out type films. So surprisingly, Amazon Prime has a lot of her movies and shows on their catalog. And I just started kind of digging into those, and they're super fun, man. Like they're really well thought out, really cool. So I'm watching one right now. I'm about to start the second episode. It's only 2 episodes, called The Pale Horse. It's fantastic. It's really good. So the whole premise is this woman dies, and there's a list that when the coroner takes her shoe off, there's a list of like 8 people's names. And so they're all like, well, what are these names? Like, so the detective is questioning. There's one guy who has his full first and last name on there with a question mark next to it. And so they find this guy and they bring him in for questioning, and you're starting to figure out like all these pieces that are like tied together kind of around this one person and like what it actually means. And it like somehow there's like these 3 witches that are in this small town that are like involved. It's really, but it's like really, really well done too. It's very like, I'm super into it. And there's another one called The Crooked House. There's another one called And Then There Were None. And they're all on Amazon Prime right now, and they're really good. They're like just great murder mysteries.
I recently finished watching, actually last night around 2 a.m, Altered Carbon.
Oh yeah,
on Netflix. I don't know. I think I got to sit on it for a little bit before I could really have an opinion on it. I mean, I enjoyed the first season, but the second season is kind of, I'm in between, I guess. I'm not really sure.
But
then I started watching another episode, a different show, Devs, which you recommended.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
I watched the first one, and I'm intrigued. I'm hooked. So we'll see. I want to know what's going on now.
Dude, that show, I mean, thank God, because like that's the show I've been waiting for. Like, it's just, dude, it's like got a budget behind it. It's beautiful looking. It's styled well. The characters are intriguing. The story is fascinating. I have a million questions, and I know Alex Garland is smart enough to deliver on all of them, and all the subtle stuff that I'm like kind of picking up on, subtle stuff that like we don't even know to pick up on. He's layering it all through the whole time, and I'm like, yes, like thank God, because like Annihilation, I didn't love. I loved Ex Machina so much. Like that was
Ex Machina is an amazing movie,
really great. And like Annihilation, I still liked it, but I didn't love it. And
Annihilation was good, but
right. Devs, I feel like is just him at his best, and I'm super into it. Like it's I can't wait to see what direction it goes into.
Yeah, I mean, how many episodes have you watched already?
Only 3. I mean, the first 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched the first one, and I want to know what that code was.
Oh, dude,
what that he was reading?
Yeah.
I'm only assuming, like what I picked up from it was that is probably something to do with like religion. That's kind of what I picked up on. It's
tied into it. I mean, but religion is such a weird construct too, because religion. So it really gets into kind of everything, because like religion is just kind of an explanation of like what everything is about, like, and then dictate, because it's also tied into like fate and dictating human behavior and like all this stuff. So it's like it's the God. I mean, that's the thing, is it's so hard to talk about God and religion and all that stuff and science, because it's all kind of the same thing, just with like use different, really, it's just different words for all the same kind of basic general ideas. But it's like everyone, they tie things into boxes, and like that's what I like so much about, I mean, Alex Garland, or just people who are really intelligent, is they kind of, it's so hard to talk about it because you don't know the right even words or verbiage to use to like really get the ideas across well. And I think what this code kind of is tying into is mainly just that idea of like, not even, I mean, kind of God, but more of just like.
So like I only watched the first episode. So what I got was, that's got to be some kind of code to like, I don't know, maybe like heaven or something like that they're messing with, or
but the fact that we can even write a code that can like even dictate like anything that can tie, it's like people have always tried to understand like what the Fibonacci sequence means. Like it's like, because you see those patterns in everything, but no one knows what it actually means. So that's why I feel like this code is like kind of tying in to this, dude. It's like anything that involves like energy and feeling and emotion and like, dude, even I'm sorry to tie everything back to this coronavirus thing, but I'm like, dude, it's the same thing. It's like, because we're watching human behavior, human like patterns, human like, dude, it's like, to be a sociologist or like anyone who kind of pays attention to human behavior, and like when you put mass panic, you see like, it's like the bell curve of things, where you see the people who literally are not aware and don't give a shit at all. Then you see the people who are kind of mildly aware and like kind of like cautious, but they're like not really buying into it. And then you see the whole other spectrum of people like living in bunkers, like below, with loaded up with shotguns, like losing their fucking minds, or the ones who are like in cults who are like killing themselves right now because they're like, this is end times, like it's over, blah, blah, blah. So it's like that whole spectrum of people, if you could find a code that ties into like how humans and how it's like, you look at it as like kind of like this. I like when they show like, almost like that static kind of like looking thing, because it's like everything's moving in a dictated pattern. Like it's almost predictable. And that's what's so interesting about that show, is it's like I kind of touching on that. And so it's really brilliant. I mean, I can't wait to see where it goes. But
I want to definitely watch more, because that's what I sometimes I ruin shows or movies because of that, because I pick up too many details and end up putting it together way too early, and then by the end it's not satisfying. But
dude, but that was Outsider for me. That's why, dude, when you there's nothing better than like all those little things that you're like latching onto and paying attention, and because you're giving it your time, your focus, your energy, your effort. All of it is filtered into like this care. And if the filmmaker or the showrunner didn't give the same care that you're giving it, there's nothing more than just like, oh, fuck you. Like, God damn it. Like, I was like bought into your whole story, and you didn't give a shit nearly as much as I did.
That's how I am with devs right now. Like, that's what I got from it. I think cares. I was like, is some kind of religion. The thing is,
I genuinely think Alex Garland, he's brilliant. Like, he really is like a smart guy. And he's going to take all our expectations and deliver them, and he's not going to give us he's not a guy who gives you easy answers, which I like because he forces conversation, but he's going to give you really big questions, and he's going to give you this weird roadmap to get there, and it's going to be totally worth the ride, and the end will never feel fully satisfying because everybody loves a fully wrapped up happy ending.
Yeah,
that's everybody's favorite ending to any movie ever. The Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump, blah blah blah. All the movies that people genuinely love, they wrap up all the loose ends and tie it together, and you're just like, like that's so satisfying on so many levels. Alex Garland doesn't do that. He gives you all like these huge questions, but he doesn't have. Dude, anyone who pretends they have the answers is full of shit. Like, that's why people can't buy into like preachers and religion and all this stuff anymore, because they're saying they have the answers.
Yeah,
nobody has the answers. And so these artists who create these, like, especially that show, like, I'm clearly excited about them going off on it, but it's like, but it's just that brilliant. Like, because I love shows that are tied into like those huge like moral and ethical and like religious questions, because like there's so many things that are dividing us as like humans between politics, religion, and all that stuff, when generally we really are all in this kind of thing together, figuring all this shit out. And it's like you have filmmakers like Alex Garland who are kind of these really brilliant minds who are showing us a unique way to look at all of it too, which is
so that's what I've gotten from it. Like, one of the images I got that I was like, all right, I kind of know where this show's going, was when they get the Russian guy, when he runs out and they find them in the forest.
Wait, don't give any spoilers away, just in case people haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but then so you know the main like developer or the boss around there, right? Where they aim the camera at him, and then there's those halos on the tree, and one of them ends up right behind his head. Dude, and I was like, all right, I think I know what they're trying to say with this.
I mean, it's visually stunning, it's symbolic, like, dude, it's so good. It's like, I love this show so much, and that's the thing, is I'm not even worried. Halfway through The Outsiders, I got worried that they weren't going to know how to wrap this up. With Alex Garland, like, I'm not worried. Wherever he takes us, it's going to be such like a cool place, and it's so well thought out and well organized, and like that's the thing, is like when a show gets all the details right, like everything is just like smart and well thought out and correct, and I'm like, thank you. Like, that's the perfect entertainment. It's the perfect show. It's elevating your mind, it's elevating your consciousness, it's elevating everything about what you'd want to be engaged with, and that's, thank God we have it. It's awesome.
It's a great show. Everybody should jump on it.
And, absolutely. It's complex too. Like, don't expect easy. Like, that's the thing, is people, like, because general audiences, they want something simple. They want something just like, oh, that was nice, and like, and it's true. I like that too. But also, I don't
know if you've checked out the show Legion.
No. So that's literally on my list. I need to start that.
I watched the first season and I was into it. The second season, it's just a little too complicated.
Really? It gets
at some
crazy.
points where I'm like, oh man, it's a chore to watch it. Like,
really?
Yeah. And I'm like, all right. But so there's second season's out. I think the third season's out. and I just watch it a little bit at
I
a time.
think it is ending though, right? Isn't it only 3 seasons long?
I think it is ending. Okay. Yeah.
I keep meaning, because the only reason I never started it is because I heard it was like an X-Men thing.
It is, yeah.
And I'm just so over kind of comic book stuff that I'm just like, I'm not starting another thing. But I've actually heard it's really, really smart and really well done. So I was like, all right, like I keep meaning to start it. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, it is. It's just sometimes I'm like, oh, what is going on here?
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff too. It's like when it is too challenging, like, because I'm not an idiot, but I'm also not dumb. So it's like,
yeah, I would say it's not super challenging, but I mean, definitely watch it with a fresh mind.
Yeah. No, at least I like hearing stuff like that more, because I'd rather be challenged by a show than to be completely like dumbed down by it. Like when I'll watch some stuff where I was just like, oh, I can't do this. But some stuff I like to just have it be silly and fun. But it's like, oh my God, have you been watching Dave on FX?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that. No.
Oh my God, dude. I literally, I'll tell you a quick story. So I watched the first episode by myself, and I was dying laughing. And so I told my fiance about it, and she came home that night. We were watching it, and there's this scene. It wasn't even, I don't know why it just hit me so hard and like just the right moment, but I was drinking water like right as this scene happened, and I didn't want to spit it up all over our living room, so I kind of choked it down, and all of a sudden it went down the wrong tube to where I literally started choking from it. Like I was like I thought I was gonna die. Like my body went into convulsions. I started puking. I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Because I was laughing so hard, and I was turned and looked at my fiance. There's vomit coming down the front of my face. There's water all over myself. I was just like, I think this show just broke me. I was laughing so hard. And the second and third episode. So I don't ever review a show now until after the third episode. But the third episode just ended, and the final scene of the third episode, I literally was crying. I was laughing so hard. I was dying. It's really good. I'm
gonna have to watch it now. Hopefully I don't go into convulsion myself.
It was so it's the opening scene of the first episode of the show gives you an idea of what to expect. And even that first scene, I was laughing my ass off. It's really good. And I didn't know anything about Little Dicky. I knew he was a rapper. I'd heard that one song he did about the planet and the animals and stuff on it. That's it. That's all I knew about him. And then when he had a show, I didn't even care to start it. And after watching it now, I'm a fan. He's so fucking funny. It's really good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll end it off there. Don't forget to follow Lucas Parker and Lucky Boy Review. He has some of the best reviews out there. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram on No Time, the number 4 movies. And you can find us on any platform where you can get your podcast episodes. And so we'll wrap it up there. One thing we know is that it's confusing times.
And we'll be indoors watching plenty of movies.
Just like the coronavirus, religion, and devs is confusing. So are women. We went through that. And just stay safe. We'll be watching movies and shows indoors.
There we go.
All right. Bye.
Bye.